I downloaded a dating app about 5 months after my divorce. I was 34, living alone in Denver, Colorado, and trying to get used to silence again. That was the hardest part. My ex-husband used to fill every room. He always had music playing somewhere in the apartment. Even when we fought, there was noise. After he left, the apartment felt hollow. At first, I tried distracting myself with work. I picked up extra shifts at the dental office where I worked reception. I stayed late whenever I could because going home felt depressing. But eventually, even that stopped helping. Most nights, I'd microwave something unhealthy, sit on the couch in oversized sweatpants, and scroll endlessly through social media until I fell asleep. One Friday night, my coworker Jenna told me I needed to stop isolating myself. "Download a dating app," she said while we were closing up the office. I laughed. I barely survived marriage. I'm not trying dating apps. Then just talk to people. You don't have to marry anybody. That night, out of boredom more than confidence, I downloaded one. I almost deleted it after 10 minutes. The messages were awful. Half the men looked angry. The other half looked like they took bathroom mirror selfies inside gas station restrooms. But after a few days, I started getting more comfortable. Most conversations went nowhere. A few turned creepy. Some were just painfully awkward. Then I matched with someone named Ryan. His profile looked normal. He had dark hair, light stubble, and a crooked smile that looked natural instead of staged. One picture showed him hiking. Another was him holding a golden retriever. There was even an embarrassing photo of him wearing a Christmas sweater. Nothing about him raised any alarms. His first message was, "Your bio says you make terrible pancakes. I need details." It actually made me laugh. We started talking that night. Then the next night. Then every night after that. Ryan was easy to talk to. He remembered details. He asked questions. He listened. That sounds basic, but after months of feeling invisible, it mattered. I told him about my divorce. He told me he'd gotten out of a long-term relationship too. I told him I worked at a dental office. He joked that dentists secretly enjoyed hurting people. The conversations felt normal, comfortable. That was probably why I trusted him. After about 2 weeks, we moved from the app to texting, then phone calls. His voice surprised me the first time I heard it. Calm, soft-spoken, not nervous like most first calls. One night, we talked for almost 3 hours. I remember sitting on my kitchen counter eating cereal at midnight while he told me stories about growing up in Oregon. At one point, he said, "You know what I like about you?" I laughed. "You barely know me." "Exactly. Most people try too hard. You don't." That stuck with me. I started looking forward to his texts. If I woke up and saw a message from him, my mood instantly improved. Even Jenna noticed. "You're smiling at your phone again," she said one afternoon. I rolled my eyes. Relax. It's just texting. But deep down, I knew it was becoming more than that. 3 weeks after matching, Ryan asked if we could meet in person. I hesitated at first. Not because of him, because of me. I hadn't dated anybody since my divorce. The idea of sitting across from someone new felt weird. But Ryan kept things casual. "Just dinner," he said. "Worst case scenario, we both pretend to have emergencies and leave." I agreed. We planned to meet Friday night at a small Italian restaurant downtown. The entire week leading up to it, he kept texting me little things. "I already know you're shorter than your profile says. You better not secretly be 65 years old." It felt playful, normal. Friday finally came. I got home from work around 5:30. I showered, dried my hair, and and stood in front of my closet for 20 minutes trying to decide what to wear. At first, I picked a black dress, and then changed my mind, and then changed it again. Eventually, I settled on a dark blue sweater and jeans. Simple, comfortable. I was standing in front of my bedroom mirror putting on mascara when my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Blue looks better on you than black. I stared at the message. At first, my brain didn't fully process it. Then I looked down at my sweater. My stomach clutched. I hadn't sent him any pictures. I walked toward my bedroom window with shaken legs. Outside, the street looked mostly empty. A few parked cars, streetlights, nothing unusual. Then I noticed a dark SUV parked across the street. The engine was still running. I couldn't see through the windshield because of the reflection from the streetlights. I texted back. What? No response. A few seconds later, another message appeared. Don't look nervous. Every hair on my arm stood up. I stepped away from the window. Then my phone started ringing. Ryan. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello? For a second, all I heard was breathing. Then he laughed. You look exactly like I imagined. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Then, another text came through. Open the door. Right after that, someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 slow knocks. I stood still. My apartment suddenly felt very small and scary. I backed away from the door without making a sound. Another knock came. Then my phone buzzed again. I know you're inside. I locked myself in the bathroom and called 911. The dispatcher answered almost immediately. I remember whispering because I was scared he'd hear me. There's a man outside my apartment, I said. Do you know him? I matched with him online. Is he trying to get inside? Before I could answer, the doorknob rattled. My apartment door rattled. Once, then harder the second time. I covered my mouth with my hand to stop myself from making noise. The dispatcher kept asking questions. What's his name? Can you see him? Are you alone? Then everything stopped. There was no knocking, no footsteps, nothing. The silence somehow felt worse. About 5 minutes later, police arrived. I heard them outside first. Then, knocking. Police department! I stayed locked in the bathroom until an officer told me to come out. My entire body was shaking when I opened the door. They searched the building, the parking lot, and the alley behind the apartments. The SUV was gone. One officer asked to see the dating profile. But when I opened the app, Ryan's account had disappeared. Deleted. The photos were fake too. One of the officers did a reverse image search right there in my kitchen. The pictures belonged to a fitness influencer from California. The name wasn't real either. The officer looked at me and said, "Unfortunately, this happens more than people think." Before leaving, they checked the windows and locks around my apartment. That's when another officer found something outside my bedroom window. A folding chair, positioned directly beneath the glass. The screen had been partially removed from the outside. One officer asked if I thought someone had been watching me before tonight. I immediately thought about all the times I'd felt uncomfortable walking from my car recently. The moments I dismissed. A stranger standing too long near the mailboxes.
a car parked outside at odd hours. The feeling of being observed.
But I told myself I was paranoid. After the police left, I barely slept. Every sound in the building made me jump. Elevator doors, neighbors talking, footsteps in the hallway. By morning, I'd already decided I was deleting the dating app. I also called my landlord, asking if I could change the locks. He said no, because technically, no break-in had happened. That answer made me furious. For the next few days, I stayed with Jenna. She tried making jokes to calm me down. "You're officially banned from internet dating forever." I laughed when she said it, but honestly, I was still terrified, especially because the messages hadn't stopped, even after deleting the app. At first, they came from random phone numbers. "Why did you call the police?" Then, "I just wanted to meet you." Then, "You embarrassed me." I blocked every number immediately, but new ones kept appearing. One night, around 11 p.m., I got a text with a picture attached. It was my apartment building. Taken from across the street. I started crying the second I saw it. Jenna wanted me to go back to the police. So I did. An officer took screenshots of everything and told me they'd document the harassment. But because the numbers were disposable and the dating profile was fake, there wasn't much they could do immediately. "Do you have any idea who this person could really be?" he asked. I shook my head. And honestly, that was the worst part. I didn't know if Ryan was actually a random stalker or someone who already knew me. That thought started eating at me. I began looking at everybody differently. Coworkers, customers, people in my apartment building. I kept wondering if one of them was secretly watching me. 2 weeks later, I moved. I didn't tell many people where. New apartment, different part of the city, secure building. For a while, things got better. No messages, no calls, nothing. I started relaxing again. I even convinced myself maybe the whole thing had been some weird obsession that finally burned out. Then, one night, I got home from work and found flowers outside my apartment door. No card, just flowers. I didn't touch them. I called building security immediately. They checked the hallway cameras. The footage showed a man wearing a baseball cap leaving the flowers outside my door around 3 p.m. The camera angle never showed his face, but before walking away, he looked directly into the camera, almost like he wanted somebody to know he was there. Security gave the footage to police, but nothing came from it. After that, I stopped feeling safe. I changed my routine constantly. Different grocery stores, different gas stations, different routes to work. I started checking my back seat before getting into my car. I stopped going out at night unless somebody was with me. Even at work, I found myself glancing toward the windows every few minutes. One afternoon, Jenna pulled me aside. "You look exhausted." "I'm fine." "No, you're not." She was right. I barely slept anymore. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened. Then came the email. Just one sentence. "You looked prettier before you got scared." That message made me scared out of my wits. Because until then, part of me still believed this person only wanted attention. But that email felt personal, like he enjoyed what he was doing. Police traced the email to a VPN. Another dead end. Months passed. Slowly, life became manageable again. I started therapy.
My therapist told me trauma changes the way your brain processes safety. That doesn't mean you're weak, she said. But I still hated what I'd become. Before all this, I used to walk through parking garages without thinking twice. Now I carried pepper spray everywhere. I avoided eye contact with strangers. I stopped trusting people, especially men who seemed too nice. 8 months after the night outside my apartment, I thought maybe it was finally over.
Then I saw him. Or at least I think I did. I was leaving a grocery store around sunset. As I pushed my cart toward my car, I noticed a man standing near the edge of the parking lot. Baseball cap, dark jacket, hands in his pockets. He wasn't doing anything suspicious, but he was watching me. The second our eyes met, he smiled. And it wasn't a friendly smile. He recognized me. I immediately got back inside the store and called Jenna. By the time security walked me outside 15 minutes later, the man was gone. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was just somebody standing in a parking lot. But deep down, I don't think it was. A few weeks later, I got a message, this time through a brand new social media account. Still checking over your shoulder? I deleted every social account I had that same night. Everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. I even changed jobs 6 months later. I just wanted a fresh start somewhere nobody knew me.
I moved to Seattle after that. Different state, different apartment, different phone number. Most people in my life now don't even know this happened. And honestly, I prefer it that way. But there's one thing I still think about sometimes. The timing. Because when I first matched with Ryan, he seemed too perfect, too patient, too interested, too careful. Almost like the goal was never dating me, just learning me. Learning my routines, my apartment, my habits. Finding out how easy it would be to get close. That's the part that still bothers me years later. Not knowing how long he watched me before I realized he existed. Sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I heard knocking, exactly the same as before. And every single time, I check the locks before I can fall asleep again. Every single time.